Hey line walkers, this is Jamie A. Heidel, the Articulate Autistic, and I have a brand new video for you today. This one is called Why Autistic People Do That, Video 23, Being Confused Triggers Anger and Anxiety. Now this actually wasn't my original topic, but it's something that came to me this week, and I asked people on this forum that I'm a part of. It's called Autistics Worldwide on Facebook, and I love it. And I really have great dialogue with people there. So I notice that for me, if I get confused, I instantly become either angry or anxious or both. And I figured that that might be common with people on the spectrum, but I wanted to make 100% sure. So I asked the people in Autistics Worldwide, does this happen to you? And I want to say 90% of the people said, yes, absolutely. I get angry and anxious if I'm confused. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this. It's a common misconception that people on the spectrum are automatically easy to trigger and easy to anger, and we all just kind of explode randomly. And that's not true. I want to take this to the side a little bit and explain meltdowns. Meltdowns, believe it or not, are not an inevitable part of being autistic. However, they are an inevitable part of being autistic in a largely neurotypical world. So there's no way to actually prove this, but I really do believe that if someone is autistic and when they're a child and they have people who understand their neurotype, that meltdowns would be far and few between because their sensory needs would be met and their communication needs would be met. And we wouldn't have as much confusion as we do now and as much misunderstanding. I think that that's a lot of where meltdowns come from. Also, anger and anxiety. I have to say that as an autistic person, my primary emotion is anxiety. I'm anxious all the time. And my other emotion, I don't know if you can call this an emotion, but my other feeling is confused. I am confused and anxious all the time. And it takes a Herculean effort for me to mask that, and only because I don't want to draw attention to myself. And sometimes I really am confused about something that I think is probably simple for most people, so I just don't ask questions and I just sort of nod and smile, which isn't the best thing to do, I know, but I really don't like attention on me. I don't, ugh. So now, confusion. How many of us are not confused? So let's say, for example, somebody is trying to show me how to do something and I become confused about their directions, which is probably going to happen maybe more than 50% of the time. I'm not going to understand the first time you try to explain something to me because my brain is autistic, their brain is neurotypical, they're trying to talk to another neurotypical person, they're trying to explain it how they would explain it to anybody of their neurotype, but I just don't have the same neurotype. So you might get a confused or blank look from me. But confusion instantly triggers anxiety and sometimes anger or frustration, definitely frustration, because I think anybody would be frustrated by being confused. But as soon as I feel confusion, I feel fear. And I had to really look at that and say, why? Why do I feel fear? And it makes perfect sense to me because when I was a child, even a young adult, even in my 20s and 30s, I'm still in my 30s, but barely, people did not understand that I didn't understand. They just got frustrated with me. So confusion would happen, frustration would happen, and then they would become whoever was teaching me. It could be a teacher or a family member or somebody like that. Whoever was teaching me would become angry. And sometimes it really was just frustration, like, why aren't you understanding this? But sometimes it was abusive. Sometimes it was, you can't possibly not understand me. What's wrong with you? You're just pretending to not understand. And even though people don't say that to me now, as soon as I get confused, the second I get confused, panic. I feel absolute panic. And to try to learn while I'm panicking, it's almost impossible for anybody to learn while they're panicking. I mean, that's not, when your body goes into fight or flight, that's it. You're not learning anything. You're just fighting or flighting. So if someone's explaining something to me and I get confused, it's like I do manage to work myself through it and I ask a question. I tell people, not really understanding that. Can you explain it a different way? But I've had years and years and years to learn how to do that. Whereas when I was a child, I just didn't understand, and everything would sort of like, if you're familiar with panic attacks, you know what happens. Like you kind of get tunnel vision, and your chest feels tight, and your stomach feels weird, and you feel like you might puke, and you start getting shaky, and your mouth gets dry, and there's nothing coming in anymore. You're not learning anything. And there you are, staring at the people like a deer in the headlights, and someone standing down over you saying, how can you not understand this? And keeps explaining it over and over, and like gesticulating wildly and saying all these things. And you're like, you're not there anymore. Because not only, so first you started out with confused, then you got panic. Now you're going into shutdown mode. So if confusion happens, panic happens, and the person continues to talk to me, although again, this does not happen very often to me as an adult, but it did when I was younger, I will shut down. And it still happens sometimes that I shut down. It's just not as, it's not as catastrophic as it used to be. Because then the shutdown would lead to a meltdown, and then I'd be rocking back and forth, shrieking and heaving and screaming and hyperventilating, which I did for most of my childhood whenever I would have a meltdown, which was frequently. So I think that the reason confusion triggers anxiety and anger for me is because I was traumatized by being confused. And I'm just going to say that one more time because I think it's really important. I was traumatized by being confused because my confusion, which was very genuine, was a sense of helplessness, and it was a sense of, please guide me, please show me, I don't understand, I'm lost, I'm at sea, I'm drifting about. And instead of the reaction that you would expect to get when you feel those emotions, I was screamed at, I was told that I was making it up, sometimes I was hit, shoved, very negative things would happen. I would get in trouble for not understanding something. I'll tell you something. I don't play card games. I don't play board games. I don't play any kind of games unless it's something I can do by myself on the computer or on my pad, because I'm actually utterly terrified of playing card games and board games with people. Now, there are some people in my life who can actually get me to play board games and card games. There's actually only one person who can get me to do that because I'm not afraid of her. And I know that if I don't understand something, she's not going to, do something to harm me, and she will be patient. She's incredibly patient. She's my best friend. She's awesome. So I don't know if that's the case with you, if you can resonate with this, because when you were confused, either you would be literally or figuratively backhanded into next week because you were seen as somebody who wasn't trying hard enough, or you were pretending to not understand, or you were just messing with the person. Or for whatever reason, this person decided that, you weren't okay because you were confused. I think that that's something that can trigger PTSD. I know it's one of the reasons I have PTSD. And I think my anxiety and anger reaction to confusion is a part of my PTSD. So if I get confused, I'm probably going to get anxious, but I can work through that now because I've been through dialectic behavior therapy for many years, and I can work through it most of the time now. But I will tell you one thing. If I am confused about something and I'm able to verbalize it, and you continue to explain it in the same way over and over again, and you either don't believe that I don't understand, or you get really overly mad or frustrated with me, I won't talk to you. I won't have anything to do with you. I cannot accept that in my life because it's very unsafe for me to have that in my life. And honestly, if you're going on and on and on, at that point when I've shut down, I'm not learning anything anyway. So please let me know if you resonate with this, if you can relate to this, if you have maybe a child or a relative or somebody that you know who seems to get confused and get really angry all of a sudden, and that's hard for you to understand. Maybe this video can help. Let me know in the comments down below, either on YouTube or Facebook. And as always, I am going to leave a link to all of the videos in the description below. And that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.